Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Your Vibes Podcast. Everybody's got a vibe and a story to tell. Here's this one. I hope you enjoy. This episode is brought to you by Your Vibes Entertainment. Your Vibes Entertainment is Middle Tennessee's premier hospitality entertainment consulting company. If you or your business are in need of a mobile DJ, group entertainment like trivia, karaoke, or bingo, or you just need a professional MC to help coordinate your event's day of logistics, we have you covered. It's no work and all play when you hire Your Vibes Entertainment. You can trust us to bring top-of-the-line sound equipment, lighting, and a professional attitude to any event you are hosting. If you are interested in boosting your revenue, showcasing your company, or just want to provide high-vibe entertainment for your family, friends, employees, or clients, please contact us on Facebook or Instagram at Your Vibes Entertainment. Shoot us an email at yventertainmentservicesllc@gmail.com or reach out to the owner Michael directly at 615-330-3236. Thanks, and always remember, stay vibey, my friends. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and we're off. What's up, everybody? I've got a really interesting person in here today. A good friend of mine, Miss Morgan Chandler, made the connection. I think we've maybe crossed paths a couple times before.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, here, move the mic just like right where I got it. Kind of. There you go. You can scoot your chair over if it's not gonna. Yeah, it's gonna fall. Nope. There you go. Just bend it back and bend the middle arm back a little bit. There you go. There we go.
All right.
Now we're talking. Yeah, I think you were at the Burns Barbecue.
Burns Barbecue Bash.
Slinging, yeah, and you got me, I think it was you got me on those Coors Light lemonades. Maybe?
Was it? We had the Truly lemonades.
The Truly lemonades.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I mixed those two together, and it was delicious. It was
yeah.
like what do they call it?
Oh, the Shandies.
Shandies.
Yes.
Shandies
the actual Coors Light, and then the actual like lemonade. Yes. Because we had ice. Truly lemonade, but yeah, we were hand making Shandies.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, they are really good.
For a hot day, that was perfect.
Perfect.
It turned out well for the barbecue bash too. Mm-hmm. Morgan did a great job.
She crushes everything she touches.
She's all over the place.
She's incredible.
I guess she's finally announced that they're buying the brewery. Yeah.
They closed. They already closed. They closed last week.
Did they?
Yeah.
I think it's the 20th.
I thought it was November 27th. I could have been making that up.
I think it's December 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're moving right along. I think they've got some big plans for it, though. Mm-hmm. Real big plans. I know they're getting some new sound systems. They're going to try to put a kitchen in there. So yeah, it's good. It needs to happen. That place is a lovely place, and it needs to stay a brewery because any town, especially a small town that has a brewery, I think it puts them on the map. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So did you own? Is that a mobile bartending service that you have? A mobile event service?
Call the Shots. Yeah, it's a mobile bartending company. We do a lot of weddings, but we'll bartend for any event: bar mitzvah, divorce party,
sweet,
Justin Timberlake's pool party.
Yeah. Did you do that?
I would absolutely do that.
You would. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm available. JT, when you're ready, I am.
Holler at me. Yeah. We can go. Yeah, we can go to the 1230 Supper Club and just have a party on the rooftop there.
They've got their bartenders covered. Okay. I have a lot of friends that work there. Actually,
do you?
It's supposed to be really cool.
I've got reservations for the 16th of this month there.
Very nice.
Yeah,
enjoy.
Me and my wife's anniversary. So I know 6 years. Good Lord.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh crap! Mine's on the 9th. Mine's coming up.
Oh boy.
I have made no plans.
At least you're a bartender, right? You can throw your own party.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Well, actually, I'm not drinking right now.
Okay. Right now, how long's that been?
Since September.
Why? Any just for detox reasons, or?
Well, with October coming up, October is my busiest month of the year for the bartending company.
Okay.
And that means that there's a lot of planning happening in September. So just to, bartenders, we drink a lot, right? Especially when I'm just like experimenting with cocktails. And it was like, I just want to be as clear-headed as possible. Cool. And just have like the best energy to bring to things, be my healthiest self. And basically I have a very demanding life and I want to feel as good as possible to bring my best self to every situation and to make sure that we crush October. And we did.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was our first 20K month.
Wow.
So
congratulations.
Thank you. Never ever thought I'd say that. Wow. But when I realized it, I was actually bartending and I instantly started twerking and twerked all night.
Twerked all night?
Yeah.
Wow. So tell me how that journey kind of started there. Were you just, how long have you been a bartender?
I've been bartending since my first bartending gig was at a beach bar in Cambodia when I was 22.
Why did you end up there?
I went to volunteer in an orphanage, and I did, and I was going to travel after that, but I had spent all of my money for the kids at the orphanage. It was a much rougher situation than was painted, so I ended up spending a lot more money than I thought I would. They told me to bring X amount, and I did, and it didn't cover it. So I got a job bartending at a guest house, a hostel, bar, kind of nightclub thing on the beach in Cambodia, and I lived there for 2 months, bartending and teaching yoga and babysitting a monkey.
What? What kind of monkey?
She was a short-tail macaw. Long-tail, I don't know.
Are those the little ones?
Yeah, she's like pretty little, like a foot tall maybe, and she just like hung out in the tree by the bar.
Was it just somebody's monkey?
The owners of the bar, they like got her. They bought her off of like the black market or something to like save her, and they just kept her, and she hung out in the tree next to their bar, and so.
Was it a well-behaved monkey?
No, she was a cheeky little bitch. She would like swing out of the tree and like steal people's beers. Or no, she was an alcoholic. She had a problem. This is why I had to watch her. She would like run down people's arms and plunge her head into their beers. When she was in heat, she did not like women. She was very competitive over men. Okay. So like she would find a guy that she liked, and she would like sit on his shoulder and drink his beer and like claim him. And if women came up to him, she would get nasty.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
I never would have thought about that with a monkey. Monkeys were. I knew they were always a little wild, but I didn't think that they were possessive.
They are. This one was.
What was the monkey's name?
Drunky.
Oh my god. That's an appropriate name for an alcoholic monkey.
Yes, I named her that. She didn't have, they were just called her Monkey. And I was like, ooh, no, this is Drunky.
This is Drunky the monkey. So would she bartend too?
No, she could not be trusted with that much alcohol.
Or money.
No, absolutely not.
That's like that monkey off of The Hangover almost.
She could probably be trained to do some pretty devious stuff. She was something.
Oh, wow. So Cambodia came and went. And then you just decided you like bartending and stuck with it? It was
always like my backup gig because I'd been working in restaurants from the time I was like 15. So I always knew restaurants. I was always comfortable with restaurants, but I was in school. And actually my time in Cambodia made me realize that I was not going to finish school. I was going to, not take on any more student loan debt. I was actually going to start my own business.
Sure.
So I came home and I instantly started my first business and would bartend on the side. And I did I owned a music and art production company. I did artist management, artist development, social media promotions. I did a lot of booking. I did live events. So
like musicians?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I managed a band. I would get hired by venues in town to do all of their live events, to coordinate their hospitality, handle the contracts and writers with the artists, do all of the promotion. I was a live event manager for 7 radio stations in Indiana and Kentucky. So live events were my thing. I did a music, art, and burlesque series that was really popular. We sold that out every month.
Cool.
Did a music festival that was phenomenal. And in doing this, I worked with a lot of bars because they hosted live music. So I would bartend and I would run their live events for them.
Wow. Wild lifestyle there.
It was, yeah.
Work all night, sleep all day kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was called Moonlight Driven, so for that exact reason.
That's a very appropriate name for that. Wow. Did you ever, are you a musician as well too?
Yeah, I am, but just for fun. I was in a bluegrass band back then.
Oh, shit.
But I just do it for fun now, mostly in the car and in the shower, much to my 5-year-olds.
Do you karaoke?
I did actually last week. I normally don't, but I did sing karaoke last week.
Where
at? Miss Kelly's.
Oh, yeah. That's the spot to do it if you're going to do it.
It is.
You ever been to the Wild Beaver?
I've been in it briefly. I don't go out anymore, really. Yeah. So that was just like, I popped in after work with some friends to say hi and sang a song and then bounced. But my going out days are, I feel like, a world away.
Yeah. And, and that's what happens kind of when you start to work a lot, and you start your own business. I'm the same way. Like, I don't necessarily drink too terribly much. or go out. Really, the only night I do go out is on Thursdays, and that's kind of a rare occasion. It's not. It's by necessity because I run trivia at the brewery.
The trivia night at the brewery. It looks super fun.
It is a great time. And then sometimes, so my wife and I, we've got 2 kids, and so we very rarely get to go on a date. With us working so much as well too, so we typically will just use Thursday night as our date night. So she helps me with trivia, and then we'll either go to House of Brews or somewhere else after that and have a nightcap and
2 birds, 1 stone.
And go home. Yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone. That's exactly right. 2 birds, 1 stone. I threw her birthday's. Listen to this. You'll like this. Her birthday's 11/11.
Ooh.
Yeah, how about that? She's a witch. So I threw her, and that was on a Thursday this year, and so I threw her a surprise party for trivia that night. And that was 2 birds, 1 stone. That went really well. She was actually surprised.
Oh,
it's really hard
awesome.
to surprise her. Yeah. Is the event company to the wayside? Is it still going? Or
No, I landed a $6 million investor for it.
Nice.
And I was going to turn it into basically the Madison House of this side of the country, right? Full service agency. And a year and a half after they had made the commitment, they decided to fund 10 businesses, but then they had issues like actually getting the funding together to be sent out to the different companies that they'd funded. So they actually just pulled the funding from everyone. Oh, man. And then 6 months later, I was pregnant. Oh, wow. So, and I was supposed to be infertile. So I kind of made that decision in the moment of like, I mean, first of all, it was like, who even am I? Sure. Without this business that I've built over the last 8 years, but now I'm having a baby. Oh God, I was never supposed to be a mom. So really, who am I? Who the fuck am I? Yeah, so right. I decided to focus on being a mom, and because I didn't think I could be good at both, because one of them involves a lot of nightlife and going to bars and seeing bands, and so I picked being a mom, and of course took all of 2 months for me to get complete cabin fever and need to start another project. So I started an all-natural skincare and cosmetics business, did that for 2 or 3 years, and then that basically kind of led me into like a cleaner lifestyle and into a lot of the more like conscious stuff that I do now. Yeah. So are you talking about the manifestation coaching that you've gotten into? Yeah, my lifestyle in general, and also into coaching. So I'm a life coach. I'm a Riki practitioner.
Okay.
I
think we're playing footsie under the table.
We are.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just have a different lifestyle than most people, and that business brought a lot of awareness to like what I put in and on my body. And so since then I like really cleaned up the way that I eat and just my lifestyle in general. And then guess it was like right around that time when I had just like kind of hit rock bottom, and I had like anxiety attacks all the time. I didn't know who I was anymore. I thought that I was this person that was going to have this production company and be really successful and have this fun, exciting, adventurous life that I'd always intended. And then all of a sudden I have no business, or, I have like this small cosmetic company that I'm building, and I've got a baby and all this free time, and I don't know who I am. And so I knew that I wanted something different, but I wasn't doing anything different. And that caused a lot of discomfort. I mean, it's living the definition of insanity. So had a lot of anxiety attacks, kind of hit my rock bottom, and then was like, this is unsustainable. So I'm going to have to either commit myself and get some help for the anxiety and depression, or I'm going to give it hell and figure out what it's going to take for me to change my life. And so I decided just to give it hell. And I started researching what all the most successful people in the world do. And they had 2 things in common. One of them were that they realized that they were their number one asset, and so they took care of themselves first and foremost. And the second was that they all have some kind of mindset practice. They all are very conscious of the thoughts that they think, and mindset is a huge part of their success. And so I just started working on changing my mindset, and within 4 months, my entire life was different.
Isn't that wonderful?
My entire life.
So who did you? So I have quite a similar story as well too. I mean, I had a child at 22 before I even was out of college, with a girl that I knew I wasn't going to be with. So that was kind of decided before he even was birthed. I had no job. And then I ended up selling pest control for 6 months. And then came to work here and met my now wife. She drugged me out to Dixon. Actually, White Bluff is where we lived for a little bit. Everything was kind of gravy. I had a part-time son. We were swap back and forth. And so we had a lot of time on our hands. And then she got pregnant and was not ready for a second child. And I was working here in sales. And then everything just kind of like you said, everything just kind of hit, I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I was about 4 years into this and, it's a good job, but I'm the same way. Like I just can't sit still. And if things are just kind of, I was making money but it was just sales for insurance, and insurance is great. Especially on the commercial side, because I got to deal with business owners, but, and then the wife and I kind of, as relationships do, problems kind of come up. We work together. She works here doing personal lines insurance, and I work for my in-laws. So kind of typical, just battle stuff, to the point where I was getting depressed and anxiety and, turned to alcohol a little bit and then ended up quitting here, like family business. I was just like, all right, I got to find something else to do, and went to work for, the only thing I knew was insurance. So I went and worked for a big firm in Nashville. Worst decision I've ever made / best decision I've ever made. It was the largest agency in the Southeast. Did okay there, but it was just like this hustle, grind, cutthroat type environment, and it was in Nashville and I lived in Dixon, and it was a 2-hour, round trip commute. I wasn't seeing my family. I had some really strict goals that I had to meet, which was great. It kind of pushed me to the limit, but it got to the point where I was like, waking up in the morning, the sheets kind of felt like lead. You're just trying to get up, drag your ass out of bed. And it got to the point to where I was like not sleeping. I'd go like 2 or 3 days without sleeping. I just couldn't sleep. I don't know what it was. I do, but I couldn't. And then you came to the moment. You're like, all right, how does life just fucking work just in general? What's it all about? So kind of to the point we're relating there. So who kind of, I guess maybe who were a couple people that really kind of started you down this journey of, I guess people that you were following or reading about or, studying that kind of led you down the journey of, what life is all about?
I started with the Queen Mother Oprah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
She was like one of the first people that I researched. I'm like, okay, if she can do it.
Sure.
Then there's hope, right? So, cause she, I think, is from Nashville.
She is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I started just looking at what her practices were, like daily. And then from there, it was like, oh, mindset is it. So I just, I flung myself into meditations. Like instead of watching TV to go to sleep at night or watching Netflix, I would turn on binaural beats on YouTube with like affirmations in them. And I would just listen to that or guided meditations. And I just I read tons of books. Dr. Joe Dispenza is
the best.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
he's one of my
he's
favorites. Yeah, he's incredible. He does a really, really great job of taking all of this really scientific talk and like breaking it down into layman's terms and making it make sense.
And connecting it all.
Yeah, and like bringing the spirituality and the science into one bite-sized chunk that you can digest.
And his story in general is
incredible.
Crazy. So he was a chiropractor, right? And he was he was in a bike race, I think, or something.
He was in a triathlon.
Yeah, and got hit by a car.
Yep.
Fucked up his spine.
Shattered it.
Yeah. To the point where they said he was never going to walk again. And then he was like, well, him being a chiropractor, he knew what the spine was supposed to look like. And he just laid there and envisioned it. What was it, like 6 weeks, 3 months, something like that? It
was a ridiculously short period of time. I think he said he basically meditated his spine back together. Like they told him, you have to have surgery right now. He was like, nope, actually wheel me out of here. They were like, you're never going to walk again. Like you're going to have these surgeries to be able to function. He was like, nope, take me home. So for 6 weeks, I think he said it took 6 weeks for it to click, where every single day he would just lay there and try to, without breaking thought, without breaking his thought, like meditate completely on just rebuilding his spine. And he would start at the bottom and like put every single piece back together and envision every single nerve and bone and muscle tissue going exactly where it was supposed to be. And he would try to do the entire spine before he would break his concentration. And it said it took 6 weeks. And then he finally got it. He went through the whole thing in that 6 weeks. And like 3 weeks later, he was back walking. And then like 3 weeks after that, he was training for triathlons again. just like
isn't it
utter like mind-bending nonsense. Like what?
And then he dedicated his life to showing people that it's possible.
Yeah, the mind-body connection.
It's unbelievable. And the seminars and things that he does, the week-long things or 2-3 days, just the stories he tells about people coming in blind and then leaving being able to see, and deaf, and people with wheelchairs and crutches and just cancer, all kinds of stuff. And they measure it. It's nuts. Have you seen, what is that series? Do you have the Gaia channel?
Of course.
Okay. That's what saved my life for the most part. What is that series he came out with? Rewired. Have you seen that?
I've seen
it's
a
like
few
a
of the
10-part
episodes.
series.
Yeah.
He talks. Well, one of the big things he gets into is the pineal gland, and really, honestly, how measurable waves of your thoughts can. The pineal gland is in essence your third eye, right? And it's a piezoelectric system. So there's a crystalline system in there that can be compressed and decompressed, and that's what creates the vibrations, energy, frequency, and vibrations. That's what creates it. And he goes into that whole study of like how it literally can manipulate your external environment.
Absolutely.
He does a great job explaining it too.
He does.
I've watched a lot of his podcasts, and he's all over the place.
He is. He's great. He's one of the best resources.
Yeah, if you guys haven't, if you all haven't jumped into Dr. Joe Dispenza, that would probably be my first stop.
Yes.
Just YouTube, and you'll get addicted, and then buy a couple of his books. If you can find the series, if you don't subscribe to the Guide channel on Amazon, I think you can just YouTube Rewired. It should be on there. You maybe have to pay for it, but it's totally worth it.
Absolutely worth it.
Totally worth it.
But his free stuff on YouTube is worth
just as
its
good.
weight in gold too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And his meditations are great too. They're
Those
really
are
good.
those are bendy. They're like kind of trippy.
He talks differently during his meditations. Like his YouTube, he talks, but like I feel like he's overcome by something when he's leading a meditation or recording a meditation.
He definitely sounds different.
Yeah, those are my morning meditations, though. I listen to
awesome.
him. Yeah, he aligns my chakras in the morning.
Right on.
Yeah,
I do an meditation in the morning.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
which lines up all the chakras as well. But it you basically are breathing and going while envisioning the sound and the vibration starting in your lower belly and working itself all the way up and out your throat while you're envisioning every single thing that you want in life. Yeah. So
just moving that what is it, the root chakra, all that sexual energy all the way up and just pushing it through every chakra right into the
right up to the third eye and then out through the throat.
Do you do the muscle contractions and everything too?
I don't in my morning meditation, but
okay.
Sometimes
That's crazy.
When I'm doing body scans, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works too, man. And people, it's a commitment for sure. Like I get real pissy if I don't get to meditate in the morning, like real pissy. So my checklist in the morning is wake up, and immediately, get my heart going. So push-ups, sit-ups, not too many, just enough to have a little dribble of sweat. And then journal, just get everything out, like 3 pages. I just free think as much as I can. A lot of it, for future moments, acting as if they're in the now moment, grateful for them. And then meditation after that. Because if I try to just jump right into meditation, usually when I wake up, I realize it's a new day. But like usually when I wake up, a lot of those thoughts from yesterday still they come back in that moment, and I can't seem to concentrate. But if I break that, just cut the snake off at the head and get into the workout, journal a little bit, then those new thoughts are there, and then you can kind of start your day after that,
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Master the morning and you'll master the day 100%.
I'm still experimenting with my mornings. So mine usually start way later because I'm still a total night owl.
Sure.
And especially in a bartending business, I get
Sure.
home really late and then I have to clean up all the gear. So I usually do a lot of my self-care and spiritual practices at night.
Right before bed?
Right before bed.
Yeah.
Yep. When everyone else is asleep and no one can bother me and I can actually do them without being asked 100 million questions by my very curious 5-year-old. Yeah. My Instagram story today is like me trying to work and it's my computer in front of me, my dog in my lap, and him sitting on my shoulders yelling, rub my feet. And I'm just like, if you're waiting on anything from me, this is why.
I live in a zoo.
Yeah.
Right.
So I usually do a lot of that at night because I work late.
Sure.
I'm already up and it's like my only quiet time.
Sure.
Because in the mornings, my mornings are late mornings. We all, Toot and I, kid and I, we sleep late. So I usually wake up to him and like the day is off.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm really working on intentionally starting my day. And I'm not a morning person. So
Sure.
like I move slowly in the morning. So I'm learning how to create a morning that's like really supportive for me because I'm slow in the mornings and I have extreme ADHD. Yeah. So when I wake up, I'm not thinking about yesterday. I'm thinking about like all of the things that I have to or want to do in that day. And if I were to like realistically accomplish all the things that are in my head, I would be Oprah.
Right.
Because it's like 10,000 things. And I'm like, wow, Mary, you're really ambitious. But then I'll like rush off with my ass on fire to like start doing all those things. And then by the end of the day, I've started 23 and I've finished 1.
Right. That's exactly right. Everything is just, it's a start, but at least you started it.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I'm an expert at starting things.
And you can come back. I was listening to something the other day about kind of master manifestors that and to the point is that you really shouldn't not you specifically, but shouldn't feel guilty about not finishing things as kind of a master manifester of, because that kind of that job and that mindset and that blessing in essence is kind of who you're supposed to be. Is you're the one that stirs the shit. Mm-hmm. Like you get it, you have the idea, you get it started, you get the wheels rolling, and then hopefully can kind of pass it off, or at least have it on a little bit of cruise control. It may not be finished. They kept going, like, if you're reading a book and you just become uninterested in it, don't feel bad. Just put the book down.
Yeah. Just
put the book down, and if you want to read another book at another point, that's fine. But don't judge yourself too harshly on like, okay, I've got to read this book now from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And I was so bad at that. I've got so many books on my shelf that just have a bookmark in them that's like a quarter of the way through, or half the way through, or 3/4 of the way through, and like I just didn't finish. And then I'll just go pick it up 6 months later or whatever. And I'm always, trying to highlight things in the books, and then I'll just go through and just scan through my highlighted notes, and then can kind of jump back in at that. But just kind of getting things started, but it's that's the hardest part of the whole thing, is actually believing in yourself that you can kind of get it started. Believing in yourself enough that it's going to work, I guess, right?
I usually don't struggle with that personally. Okay. I'm very much a ambitious, like I said. And so as soon as I have an idea, I am so bit with inspiration that I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's do this. Thank God I have an assistant who can take all of my like half-baked thoughts and like put them all together and make them look really nice.
Sure.
She's a lifesaver for me. But I've gotten through where I don't beat myself up for not finishing things anymore, because I know that it's working out in the perfect timing. Yeah. So like I have a few different like books that I've started writing, and I'm coming around to finishing them now, and I'm like, I didn't finish them back then because I didn't have the knowledge that I have now to complete them.
Absolutely.
But I know now there was this one chapter and I kind of left it hanging because I wasn't really sure the direction it was going to go. And now I know.
Cool.
I've lived like whatever I've experienced over this last year since the last time I touched it is every single thing that I needed to finish that chapter and make it perfect. So now I don't beat myself up over that. On a bad day, I'll definitely let myself get overwhelmed by the amount of things that I have that are unfinished. But that's when I know just to like regulate and focus on what's going to move, like what is immediately in front of me that I need to do. And then from a regulated place, do the thing that's going to move the needle forward. I hire a lot of support in that help, like in that realm, because I am so ADHD. I hire people that help me with structure so that I can just be creative and I can just tell them the things. And they're the ones that are like, great, well, this is the deadline for this and I need this done. And I'll just like say it. Like, this is what I'm envisioning. This is what I'm feeling. This is the vibe I want it to have. And then they do it. And they get it done. So I'm very, very lucky to have a team now. Yeah. And they love me despite my my airheadedness, my ADHD being all over the place.
ADHD is a superpower, though, you know?
I used to not think that way. But now that I'm not overworking and like working from a wounded masculine of like I have to get things done to prove that I'm worthy or that I'm good enough. Now that I can set up the healthy masculine, the structure and the scheduling and like the back end stuff,
Yeah.
you know, like sending emails and like the automation, the contracts, invoicing, all of that stuff. Now that that is set up for me, that allows me to flow and to be creative and see the bigger picture and move things around so that it is getting us closer to the result. And that is the fun part for me. So now I'm starting to see, okay, this can be a superpower. That creativity can be a strength. And when I have the structure around me, that means that the creative can really play.
Yeah, it's creating order within the chaos of your mind, you know, and delegation is another thing that I've struggled with as well too. But starting this entertainment business right off the bat, I knew I was not going to be able to do my books. Like, I fucking hate working with numbers. I hate spreadsheets. I don't like any of it. All I know is like I can make the money. I'm going to hire somebody to make sure I don't spend too much and that I have all my paperwork and stuff in place and all my tax stuff. So when that comes around, I'm not scrambling around. And then I knew I wasn't going to be able to build my own website. I didn't want to do that. So I hired somebody to do that. Next step is hire somebody to do the social media. So I can just kind of like, you can work on the business and not in the business kind of thing. Cause I'm, I don't mind the social media aspect of it because it's kind of my thing. But it takes up more time than I would like to.
It does.
But I don't want it to just completely relinquish the reins. I would like somebody to structure the social media stuff and then send it to me and then I can approve it kind of thing. It's not just like, all right, here, you do all this kind of stuff.
I've got a guy for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I'll give you his number.
Cool. Because, it's not too terribly much right now. It's a lot of just podcasts and trivia and bingo and karaoke stuff right now. But, it's getting to the point. Does he do TikTok stuff?
Yeah.
I feel like I need to get into that.
He does. TikTok is great.
It's lovely.
It's good.
It's addicting. And it's definitely part of this new world that we're moving into. I mean, hell, Facebook is doing whatever they're doing with the meta, which I'm not quite sure what to think about that quite yet. I feel like such an old man sometimes, but
Same.
it's there's already like major investors buying property in this metaverse.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Buying digital real estate.
Yeah. This Ready Player One situation just jumps right in. You know, I mean, it's like you see this world that's burning to shit just all around them, and they're living in these huts, but they throw on this VR stuff, and they're living in this completely different world, and that's what people do.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten into the multiverse theory?
There's like multiple universes that are
all happening concurrently at the same exact time.
And basically like whatever I used to imagine actually when I was a little kid, before I knew what any of this was, I would imagine that any decision that I made in this universe, that there was another universe with another me in it that made the exact opposite decision. Yeah. And I don't know what I was thinking as like a 7-year-old, but this was the stuff that I thought about. I was like, oh, well, even if I really want to have this here, I have to make a decision. So I'll choose this, but other me over there, she's getting to have that experience. So that's cool. And I would like make myself feel better about tough decisions by like convincing myself that there was another me. Yeah. Kind of 7. I should be studied.
Well, absolutely. But you're not too far off as far as, from an age standpoint either. So, I mean, obviously, you know, with Dr. Dispenza, that, kids from pretty much pre-birth to the age of 7, their brain wave state is in theta, right? Which is pretty much a dream state. So kids, and that's what I've been, and I learned that kind of at the right time, with small children, because, hold on, my computer, it needs to be plugged in. Hold on a second. That their entire subconscious is programmed from 0 to 7.
It's being programmed. They're basically a walking sponge, and
100%.
Anything and everything that they are told or that they experience is absorbed as truth, and that the questioning part of the brain doesn't even really turn on
until like 8 or 9 years old, you know, and then that in essence, I can't tell you. I use this quote quite often, but I always forget to look up who said it. It may be an unknown person, but I think it was a yogi that said, give me a boy from birth until 7 and I'll show you the man. So like, you're pretty much your children's subconscious beliefs and actions for the rest of their life, for the most part, and until they consciously realize what's going on and choose to change them, are programmed from 0 to 7. They're also pretty much experiencing a DMT trip. Their pineal gland is so active at that point in the theta state because it's so relaxed, and they haven't been polluted. Their body hasn't been polluted with all the chemicals and the fluoride and all that stuff as well too to calcify it. But you saying having just a seemingly random thought about the multiverse at 7 is probably normal with a lot of kids. They just don't know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
I always question my children. I'm like, because there's a lot of books on past life, kids remembering their past lives. I don't know if you believe in reincarnation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. I've been a witch in at least 3.
Cool. Absolutely. I apparently was a Atlantean peacekeeper.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, right. So I would travel the universe through the cosmic web and keep peace through nonviolent actions.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm really hoping to experience that again one day. I really hope that time travel and portals become a public thing at some point and we can utilize those. I know. Some think we're already there and it's just scoundered away somewhere. But yeah, so I question my kids, like, do they see things? Because my kids talk to themselves all the time. I'm like, who are you talking to? I'm very like these imaginary friends that everybody just kind of writes off as bullshit, like, I don't know. I mean, we as humans only see like 1% of the entire light spectrum.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on around you. I mean, your brain you're not seeing anything but energy, frequency, and vibration. That's all you're seeing. And your brain is translating that into what we're told to be able to see.
Yeah.
Right. And if you continue to tell your children, obviously there needs to be some structure in place in order to function within society just in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be by the global societal constructs, but just in general. But to encourage your children to this is one thing I've been trying to practice a lot too, is to encourage them to do things even if as the parent it's wrong. Like I try to catch myself now of when my daughter's learning to read and math, and my son knows how to read, but now he's learning math. And instead of just like, no, before he even finishes, no, do it this way, just let him. And it takes 5 times as long to do it, But I think it's that, and it's not just for their learning process. It's to not program them the way that we were programmed. I don't want my kids to be exactly like me, because I'm not perfect. I'd love for them to look up to me and stuff, but to let them kind of go about life their own way. My son's 9 and he wants earrings. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to approve of that at the moment because I think you're going to immediately regret it. But let's wait a couple years and see. You're only 9 years old, but and I just kind of wish that society would kind of look at things like that a little bit more than
totally. Especially self-expression. Like I let Jameson pick out all of his own clothes.
That's so awesome.
We go once a month and have pedicures together. And it started because I went to get a pedicure and he was with me and he was just going to sit next to me and chill. But he's watching everything they're doing and he's like, where's my water? Where's my lotion? Where's my foot massage? Where's my hot towel? Where's my colors? And so I was like, okay, well, I guess he's getting a pedicure. So like he loves to go and he picks out the colors. He always picks out like one foot, one color and the other foot, another color. But he loves picking out his colors, and there are people in there that just stare at us and they're like, what is this little boy? Like, this mom is crazy letting her little boy get his toenails painted. And my mom, of course, is like, oh my God, you're teaching him. It's not okay for little boys to have their toenails painted. I'm like, who gives a rat's ass?
Yeah, sure.
Like, who cares if his toenails are painted? The world's still spinning.
Yeah.
Like,
he's happy.
He's happy. I just got a pedicure. I'm happy. Yeah. Like, we're good. I'm not worried about what other people think is normal or abnormal. Like, we just had a great time and we just got to bond, and he loves his pink toenails.
Sure. And here's another thing people don't. They pigeonhole male and female into a sex with a penis and a vagina and boobs, and long hair, and females are supposed to have, earrings and
be dainty
and paint
and wear pink.
yeah, exactly.
The boys wear blue.
Exactly. And instead of taking it back to the core of a feminine energy and a masculine energy, because that's all it is, and you're just stuck. You're stuck in this meat suit, and back to the reincarnation thing is that the feminine and the masculine energy is that, imagine, as a soul, if in your past lives you had reincarnated as a female 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many times, and then all of a sudden you reincarnate as a male, your soul, the driver of the meat suit, is going to be confused as fuck. And then you're thrown into a society to where you're judged, and however many sexes they want to say, non-binary, whatever it may be, that's all good and well. But the breaking point is forcing other people to believe that same thing. Like if I felt like I was, a Caitlyn Jenner type character, great, but I'm not going to go out and tell you that you have to treat me a certain way and that society has to treat me a certain way, because that's my decision, and then let everybody else make their own decision and just let everybody fucking be. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's just hang out and just do what we love to do.
Like,
right?
You do you, I'm going to do me.
Let's be friends. Anybody.
Cool.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So in this manifestation coaching thing, how I can understand kind of how it started, but how did you start to grow that?
Just and how quickly my life changed, because it was 4 months flat. My entire life was different. I went from driving like a beat up Pontiac to driving this beautiful Cadillac SUV that I bought just before my 30th birthday, the one that just got stolen, that I got back.
That you got back, yes.
Yes.
This is like a wild story.
I got a new job. I left a toxic job I'd been in for 4 years in the craft beer industry.
Okay.
And I got a new job, and I tripled my income.
Wow.
I went from not being able to... I was hit by a semi-truck when I was 17.
Jesus.
And I had back problems before that. And so large parts of my life, I haven't been able to walk. And I've had a back surgery, and I've been through pretty much every single medical option to heal a back that one can go through. And so I was at that rock bottom that I mentioned earlier, was not able to walk on a regular basis, and I was in pain constantly. It's really funny how it worked out, actually. I was in the first month of my mindset journey, and I had a little fender bender, and it was the first thing that had happened to really challenge my mindset practices. So I was like, okay, instead of spinning out like I normally would and just going down this negative thought spiral, I'm going to keep saying my affirmations, and I'm going to believe that this is always working out for my highest and greatest good. And the day after that, I had to pull my car over because I was in so much pain. And I got on Facebook just as a distraction, right? Mitigating strategy. And the first thing I see is a chiropractor with a $25 new patient checkup. So I made an appointment right then and there. I get to the chiropractor's office a week or two later, and I'm in tears. I'm in so much pain. But it had been just enough time for the car wreck, the little fender bender that I was in, all that insurance information to come through. And they're like, oh, you were just in a wreck? Well, we actually cover that. So $5,000 of free chiropractic care I ended up getting from this tiny little fender bender that I was in. And because of that chiropractor, I can walk now. I'm in better physical ability than I've been in since I was hit by the semi-truck when I was 17. I'm able to move again. So I can walk on a daily basis. I don't have to wake up and worry about am I going to be able to work today? Am I going to be able to pick my child up today? Am I going to be able to take care of my family? Am I going to be able to take care of myself? Am I going to need help to get to the bathroom? I don't have that anymore. And 6 weeks of going to that chiropractor, and I felt my back completely pop, 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 pop. And I felt my pelvic bones shift, and my entire spine just went back into alignment.
Wow.
And I had been, I was stuck.
Yeah.
pulled over to the left and hunched forward for years.
Oh, man.
So
right there.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that was like one of my very first manifestations.
Imagine if you had freaked out at that wreck, though.
Yeah.
Would
Oh my
things
God.
have aligned? You
Who
never know,
knows?
but who knows?
Who knows? But I chose to I was like, this is my first challenge. Like, this is the first thing that's really could have rocked the boat. I'm going to continue saying these things to myself. And I did. And so, I mean, I healed my back. I changed jobs and completely shifted my income bracket. All the things that were causing me stress were solved. And I just continued to do this. And finally people were like, wow, please teach me these things. And I just threw myself deeper and deeper into it. And people were asking me to teach them stuff. People, coaches of mine were like, you need to be coaching. You have all of this wisdom, especially like with your wild and crazy life that you've lived so far, like you should be teaching people. And then I found human design. And according to my human design, I'm a 3/5. That is like literally my purpose. I have gone out and sought out all of the possible experiences that I possibly could have so that I can translate to the collective what to do, what not to do, how to do things, how to like present the easiest path possible for other people on their path. So that's literally kind of my purpose in life, and through the lens of human design is to be.
So what is the human design? Is it like a test, or I mean, what? How do you go about that?
So it's a combination of the astrology system, the Hindu Brahmin chakra system, the I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life, gene keys, and neutrinos, quantum physics.
Okay.
So basically just your time of birth, date of birth, and location of birth. And it will pull up a very complicated chart.
Yeah.
That I know how to read.
Okay.
I've studied it for years. I've been living the human design experiment for years now. But it is definitely the system that I felt the most aligned with. When I heard about it, I had never felt so seen or heard before when I first had my chart read. And so that's something that I incorporated into my own practice. And I teach people as well how to like live optimally according to their human design.
Whoa. So is this something you just went online and did, or do you have to find somebody?
No, you can you can find your chart online, and then there's lots of different resources. You can go to YouTube and just like kind of have it explained because there's a lot to it. We can look at your chart if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to do it right now and we can like do that, or if you want to do it after. It doesn't matter to me.
Let's do it after.
There's a lot of resources there's a lot that you can learn about yourself through human design and just how to optimize yourself. It's basically just like, this is how my circuitry works. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. Every single person I do a human design chart reading for, they're just like, oh my God, you get me. I'm like, wow. Yeah, this is just who you're designed to be. So
based on date of birth, the moon settings for the most part.
It's like all of the astrology, but like gene keys. Like I said, the Hindu Brahmin chakra system. Like certain centers are defined, certain are undefined, and so you just know basically like what energies you naturally possess in your bodies, and then where you don't naturally have those, and that's where you're going to be seeking them from outside sources, or where you might feel conditioned to have not been enough or not be enough in that area.
Okay.
But that's like not who you are. That's not who you're meant to be. So then you can like release a lot of pressure from yourself to be a certain way. Again, the societal constructs.
Sure.
And then start to know who you are and use those aspects of yourself to create the sustainable things that you want.
Whoa. And do you have, so when your clients come to you for this, are they kind of, what are the reasons they come? Are they coming sort of out of desperation and they're kind of lost, or they're already on their journey and they're just looking for more clarification? Or are they kind of advanced? I mean, how does that come about?
It kind of depends. All my clients, they're usually women. They're usually half and half, moms and not moms. But they're high functioning women. They're women that have a lot going on. They're really busy. They have dreams. They have like a career path or businesses or, a lot of stuff that they're juggling, and they're usually at a place of overwhelm and they're trying to figure it out and get clear on what they actually want, or they've been working with their spiritual practice for a while and they just want some guidance to go deeper.
Okay. Do they have to, I guess, maybe be versed in anything prior to? Or is it just straight off the street?
As long as there's like a curiosity for
absolutely for
that kind of thing, then I think that's all that you need to get started. And then I studied psychology in college. That's what I went to school for. I was going to be a sex therapist before I got scared to do that because of societal conditioning and because my parents would never approve of that. So I started businesses instead.
We interrupt this episode with a message from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Your Vibes Entertainment. Your Vibes Entertainment is Middle Tennessee's premier hospitality entertainment consulting company. If you or your business are in need of a mobile DJ, group entertainment like trivia, karaoke, or bingo, or you just need a professional MC to help coordinate your event's day of logistics, we have you covered. It's no work and all play when you hire Your Vibes Entertainment. You can trust us to bring top-of-the-line sound equipment, lighting, and a professional attitude to any event you are hosting. If you are interested in boosting your revenue, showcasing your company, or just want to provide high-vibe entertainment for your family, friends, employees, or clients, please contact us on Facebook or Instagram at Your Vibes Entertainment. Shoot us an email at yventertainmentservicesllc@gmail.com or reach out to the owner Michael directly at 615-330-3236. Thanks, and always remember, stay vibey, my friends. Now let's get back to it and enjoy the rest of this episode.
But here I am coaching, and I think I do a great job of explaining the psychology and the actual scientific stuff behind it, so that if something is too lofty of a concept, then I can explain the science behind it and be like, this is how this works.
Okay.
A perfect example. So many of my clients in the beginning are like, affirmations just feel like bullshit. I'm just lying to myself in the mirror. It's like, actually, no, because what we're doing is we're basically, the reality that you're living today is based on the thoughts and the beliefs that you had yesterday. And those thoughts that happen, most of them aren't true, right?
You're not
and
your thoughts.
Most of them are repetitive, and they're just basically like conditioning, and they're just on this like repeat loop. So when you look at the thoughts that you're thinking and you can start to challenge the ones that aren't true and start to think about the things that you want to feel, then you're going to start to feel different things, because those thoughts release chemicals in your body which create the emotion, and then the emotion informs the action.
Yep.
So you're acting based on how you feel, you're feeling based on how you think. So then when you can start to bring awareness to your thoughts and think about the thoughts that you're thinking, that metacognition, then you can start to really design whatever it is that you want to design. And then I do a lot of nervous system regulation work with it, because you hear all the time, especially in like the coaching community, you hear about quantum leaping and let's quantum leap to this next reality. And that's fine. And it can be really damaging to your nervous system, because if you go from one reality to a drastically different reality, that maybe talking about it earlier, the imposter syndrome, when you're like, you wake up and you're like, oh my God, all of a sudden I have all these things that I dreamed about. Oh God, who the fuck am I to have these things? If we don't have that regulated nervous system, that's where we see systems or patterns of self-sabotage. Or any number of dysregulated results. But regulating the nervous system so that it actually can have the capacity to hold and sustain the change that you're implementing. Without that, it can feel like an uphill battle. I see this a lot with people that have like feast or famine patterns with money. They'll make a lot of money and then they'll lose it all. It's nervous system regulation, and there's some limiting beliefs in there that make them think that it's unsafe. But at the end of the day, it's all safety. It's like the ego, that's the mental part that always tries to keep us safe by playing small, staying in the same old patterns and the same old thing because it knows it's comfortable there, even if it's uncomfortable. And then the nervous system, when you're regulated, you can expand past what you're used to without it feeling unsafe. And so you're able to consistently hold that expansion.
Yeah, just the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. It's that imposter syndrome is something else. It's like we were saying, is that once you start to get everything you've ever dreamed of, you've kind of questioned yourself, like, well, who am I to have all this stuff? This is meant for the people that that I study, or this is not meant for me, kind of thing. And that goes back to the subconscious programming. And I liked how you said it, because I've always been a huge believer of what you're experiencing now is a delayed reaction from your past thoughts. There's a lag in your ultimate reality.
Yes.
Is pretty much what it is. And if you realize that, there's so many different thought processes on karma. Is it fate? Or is our future predetermined by something? Do we really have a choice? Or is free will? From what God has allegedly given us is the only thing that that we truly have for ourselves is free will. But is free will even real? Because the thoughts that we have are not necessarily our thoughts. Where do they come from? Or they're fed to us. So you have this whole battle and this whole confusion of what the fuck's going on kind of thing. But taking the time to realize that you're not your thoughts at all. They're there.
Or your emotions.
But emotions are the jet fuel to the manifestation process if you can control them.
Yes.
Do you read Jordan Peterson at all?
Mm-mm.
He's a psychologist, super, super smart. Some people hate him, some people love him. I enjoy him just because he's a realist, but I forgot what I was gonna say about him.
Emotions being the power fuel or the jet fuel behind manifestation.
Oh yeah. He was saying that for males, and even females, but specifically males, is that to live in this I've always got to be nice, or I can't be too terribly aggressive. He says, no, fuck that. He says, be a monster. He says, be an absolute monster and then come back. He says, know what you're capable of. Just know that you can go full bore and just be just this incredibly crazy person and then come back and realize that you can control it. Because once you kind of realize your full potential, then you can kind of come back and control it, but you're not limiting yourself. You realize that you can be much more, and then just kind of grow with it that way. And that makes you be able to make decisions in any kind of moment because you're not nervous or hesitant to kind of make those types of decisions.
That's interesting. I'll check that out.
Yeah, he's written three books so far. I've read two. It's The 12 Rules of Life, The Antidote to Chaos. And then the other one is Beyond Order, which is another 12. So he put out originally, it was either on Reddit or something else, but he came up with like 36 rules to life. And he's slowly releasing 12 rules in each book. They're cool. Fantastic. Yeah. So yes, I would like to kind of get into this is. So I've dived into meditation. I do breath work. I'm very physically active. I eat clean, for the most part. I've not necessarily had a full ego death for reasons I'm sure you can understand. I've gone out to the point to where I kind of do. Before we get into the other thing, what do you think about the ego just in general? Is it necessary?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, it's necessary. Okay. And I think that the ego death concept that I've heard thrown around a whole lot lately is counterproductive.
Okay.
The ego it serves a purpose, right? It keeps us alive. Mm-hmm. And it's making friends with it and making it feel comfortable, making it feel like it's safe for you to. Okay, so I use this driving the bus analogy a lot. Like, okay. If I'm feeling really, really angsty or angry about something and like I just want to act out and I just want to be heard and I'm pissed off, then I know like, okay, that's 15-year-old me. And I can like address that part of myself and be like, okay, look, I know that, you know, at the end of the day, like this is my ego that wants to get its needs met. So I'll just talk to that version of me and be like, hey, ego, I know that this is what you're wanting right now. And I just want you to know that it's safe. It's okay for me to drive the bus. Current me, 33-year-old me is going to drive the bus. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I know that you're just trying to get my needs met. So I think like shadow work, you know, people talk about shadow and how like, sure. You just have to sit and specifically do this shadow work. And it's about like it's all, the point of all of it is integration. So I think we have to integrate with our ego as well. It's not like this bad part of ourself that we have to like kill, because that's part of ourselves. Like that is also another aspect of ourself that we have to pull in and get to know intimately and love. And when that part of yourself can feel safe and feel like it can trust you to say, hey, look, ego, I know that we're safe and comfortable right here, but there's more. There's more for us than this. We're going to go onto the other side of this mountain. We're going to climb this mountain, and we're going to be able to handle whatever's on the other side of it. And I know you want to keep me in this valley right now, but I want you to know that I love you and I appreciate you for trying to keep me safe, because that is your point and you're doing that so well. And I'm going to drive this bus. Yeah. And it's time to go to the top of the next mountain.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. It keeps you safe, but it's that mini you inside of you. I go to therapy just to talk. And that's what he calls it, is the little mini me inside you is just, and a lot of people don't have that conversation. Some people feel crazy when they talk to themselves, and that's not encouraged enough. To me, I tell my kids to talk to themselves all the time, like encourage yourself, have a conversation with yourself.
Yes.
A lot of people, I heard a guy I follow, Tom Bilyeu, he started an energy supplement company, and he said one thing in his podcast that really shook me, but once I kind of internalized it, was that everything is your fault. Everything that happens to you is your own fault. You go out and you get hit by a car. If you had left the house 5 minutes later, 30 seconds later, that car wouldn't have hit you. If something happens, it's happening for you, not to you. It's because you created it, and it's how you go about it. And a lot of people live in this victimhood mindset, and that anything that happens to them, they just blame it on other people. They don't have that conversation with themselves,
It's easier to do that because then you don't have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
So there's a trade-off though, because on one hand, you get to be the victim.
Sure.
And you get the sympathy and you get the like, oh, the woe is me. And you don't have to take responsibility. And at the same time, you are stuck with what you've got. Yeah. So if you want something more, you have to get over that victimhood. And doing that, it requires radical responsibility.
A lot of self-observation too.
A lot. Oh my God. The conversations I've had with myself today have been actually all about this, like what we're talking about right now. And like the voices that we hear, the mini me that we hear. And I've discovered recently that when I go down like a negative thought pattern, like rabbit hole, it's not my voice. It's my mom's. Yeah. It's my mother's voice. Yeah. It is 100, like the imposter syndrome, the things that will catch me up and like give me anxiety and make me feel like, who am I to be doing this or that? Well, I'm doing things differently and that's okay. Like I'm doing things my way. I'm listening to that higher version of myself. And that is who I truly am. I am good enough, because there was a lot of like, I grew up very Southern Baptist, so it was a lot of good versus bad.
Sure.
And like, if you weren't good, then you were unacceptable. You were going to be ostracized. The church would think you were awful. You'd bring shame to your family. And so like, I would always run my actions and my words through the lens of like, is this good? Am I going to mess up? Am I going to be bad? And then I also learned that being bad got me attention. So I would be bad on purpose. So like as an adult now, it's just this constant like rectification of like good or bad. And I've dismantled a lot of that, but it's just, now there is no good, bad, right, or wrong. It's just, does this get you the result that you wanted, or does it get you something else? And is it a result that like a lower vibrational version of yourself, or like your ego, or like the victim version of you? Is that what they want? Or is this like what your higher self wants? Yeah. And I also think it's important very quickly to address that the etymology, like the meaning of the word good, just means whole.
Well,
so
yeah.
I like to ignore the other voices. I'll listen to them, acknowledge them. Is there something that I could actually take from this to improve? Or is this just taking me down an emotional experience that I'm not enjoying? Is there something here for me? If so, I'll write it down, I'll journal around it, or I'll just, have it in the back of my mind. But then if it's not, it's like, okay, well, where is this coming from? Whose voice is this? What societal construct did this come from? Does this serve me? Is this me being who and wholly who I truly am? Or is this a judgment that's coming from me not meeting a specific societal, religious, or familial construct? is this my voice? Is this my higher self? Right. And then only listening to that higher self and knowing that like, no, you can do this. It's okay for you to do it your way. You are safe. You are safe. You are safe. You are safe. You are safe in your body. You are safe in your home. You are safe in your family. You are loved. And you can move forward with whatever the hell you want to because you're a badass motherfucker.
Badass motherfucker.
Go get it. Go get that bag. Go get that accolade. Go get that book deal. Go get whatever it is that you want, but go get it because you're a badass. And those voices telling you otherwise, like the inner mean girl, that's not even you.
Sure. And I've these conversations because I say I've wanted to get in coaching. It's not time yet. It hasn't necessarily. You coming into my life has definitely taken that step forward, because in the same way, like obviously we talk on this level of conversation. There's a lot of people that I run across to in day-to-day life that I can't have these conversations with, but I talk this way to everybody. It's not reciprocated a lot of times, and I have had I have fucked so many people up. Just by asking them questions. When they come to me, they're like, I can't do this, or this is the way it's supposed to be. My first question is, according to who?
Says who?
Or according to what?
Or why?
And they're like, well, this. And I'm like, and where did they learn it from? Well, I don't know. And why do they believe that way? And why do they teach you that? Well, and I'm like, well, you are who you are. I was like, you are who you are in the now moment. And you've gotten to where you are because of the things you've done in the past, and the things that you've done in the past, you're doing because of all the reasons you just told me that everybody else told you that's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa, I've never even really thought that. It's like their thought process just stops at like, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And they don't ever go to like, according to who or according to what. They don't question societal norms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, this is a lot of where coaching starts too. It starts with the subconscious beliefs that we have because, like we were talking about earlier, from like birth to even before birth to 7, that's your subconscious mind forming. And whatever happens within that time frame, it accepts as truth. And so, like, I dive into this so much when I do money work with people because I have like a course on healing your relationship with money, and we go hard on subconscious beliefs. And it's like, what are all the things that you believe about money? Okay, who taught you those things? Usually your parents. And you ever saw your mom crying over paying bills before you were 7? That shit stuck. Mm-hmm. Money's hard to earn. It's gone faster than I can bring it in. That you see a parent struggling over that or saying that, having that experience, that's going to stick with you. Especially the more emotional charge an experience has, the more it's held into your memory. So your subconscious mind is built off of things that your parents were doing, and that was probably passed down by their parents. And so like all of this work that we're undoing, we're doing generational work. We're undoing generations worth of trauma by just sitting down and looking at our thoughts and beliefs and where those came from, because most of those didn't come from you. Like the idea of original thought these days is like, I mean, there are people that say there's no such thing as an original thought anymore. It's all been thought. I don't know if that's true, but we learn things from people around us. We're taught by our parents. We're told by the people that raise us, this is what it is. And that's because they learned that from their parents and they learned that from their parents. So to be able to just sit down and question, where did this come from? Why do I believe this? Is it ultimately true? Is it true in every single instance across the board, no matter who and no matter what? Like that becomes a radical act. And then changing it.
So would someone with a either a block in the acquisition of money, or they're fine in acquiring it, but it goes either in phases or just continually, kind of what is I guess the first step in the practice to either acquiring it and keeping it, or continuing to acquire more comes in than more goes than goes out, or just acquiring it, just in general.
Nervous system regulation, first and foremost, that's going to be like the pillar of the work, because again, like this cup, right? If you pretend like this is your nervous system and you're pouring and pouring and pouring into it, eventually it's going to overflow. But when you're doing the work to regulate the nervous system, the cup grows, and so it can hold more.
Okay.
And that goes for good and for bad, but you have to identify your upper limits. So, regulation of the nervous system first and foremost and throughout the entire process, so that whenever you do figure out the beliefs behind those blocks and you can change that, your nervous system's ready to hold it and it's not going to self-sabotage, because a lot of times it could just be that you've reached your upper limit to where it feels unsafe to have more than what you have because you've never had more than that before. You don't know how you would handle it. Maybe you don't trust yourself. And so you'll subconsciously find a way to get rid of it because it feels like a threat, and your nervous system isn't regulated and isn't prepared to handle more than that. But looking at the beliefs that you have around money, is it more money, more problems? Is the subconscious belief that you don't trust yourself to be responsible with it? So once you hit a certain point, that upper limit that you're used to, that upper threshold, that you create reasons to get rid of it because you don't trust yourself with more? Or is it that a lot of people have beliefs that rich people are bad?
Yeah.
And even though they don't consciously think that and they want more money, consciously, subconsciously, they were raised to believe that wealthy people were evil and that if they become wealthy, they'll be evil. And that's not true.
Right.
Again, is that true across every single situation to every person? No, it's not. So where did that belief come from? Take a look at it, unpack it. But a lot of it is the nervous system regulation. Like, I cannot stress that enough.
So how do you kind of re-regulate that or regulate that through affirmations, or just unpack, like you said, unpacking the blocks or subconscious beliefs? So you have to just kind of regress it back into the past. Is that what you're saying?
No, nervous system regulation is just physical stuff that you can do every single day.
Okay. Okay.
Deep breaths, self-touch, and just like hugging yourself. Yeah, hugging yourself, rubbing your arm, like the self-soothing things, but it's a lot of deep breath, pushing on a wall, taking bubble baths, taking a cold shower. But like moving the breath is a really, really easy one, because when there's stuck energy or when we're tense, where our shoulders are tight, we're not breathing deeply. And then there will be stuck emotion, stuck energy in the body. And there's 3 ways to move that. And that's breath, sound, and movement. So just when I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety or weirdness, I'll just... I'll send breath to the part of the body that is feeling something, and then I'll let whatever sound come out. But that's incredibly regulating to the nervous system. But it just teaches the ego and the actual our
physical nervous system
physiology that we're safe and it's okay, and so that we can start to bring more money in and keep it. My financial reality is, it's mind blowing how different it is. I think I was collectively, Jay and I were making like $35,000 a year 5 years ago, and we're crossing the $250,000 mark this year.
Sweet.
And just saying that is like a shot. Like, wow,
absolutely.
Whoa, I did that. We did that. Holy shit! And it's all the nervous system regulation and then the mindset. Because,
so like was it okay? Because I've got blocks as well too, and I don't necessarily hold money. I have enough to obviously stay safe, but like I throw it out into investments, computers, mics, flip things, rental houses. So it's not like there's just an abundance there, but was it just a whole environment change when you started doing that, or was it just that opportunities kind of just started coming your way with more money, or was it just staying? I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Were there less reasons for it to leave, or just as in general, just holistically, did everything kind of work a little bit more symbiotically as you kind of went about it?
It was a combination. I definitely started just attracting more money.
Okay.
I recently manifested $75,000, and it happened very easily, and I didn't have to do shit for it, but decide that I was getting it.
Yeah.
And then it came through, like not even an opportunity for myself, but an opportunity for my fiance. And I literally have to do nothing for it. But I just decided like 3 or 4 weeks ago that it was done, that I was going to have an extra unexpected $75,000. And then less than a week later, there was the opportunity.
did you journal that? Did you affirmation that? Was it just a passing, very relaxed thought?
It was a passing, very relaxed thought. Because I do so much work around this all the time. I'm actively manifesting
non-resistive thoughts
almost all of the time.
Yeah.
And so it was just one of those things where I was like former me probably would have gotten anxious in that moment, because I was thinking about paying some stuff and also some like investments that I wanted to make. And I was like thinking about money coming out and going in. And so instead of stressing and like going down that little rabbit hole of like, oh God, I have to know how much is coming in, calculate where all it's coming from, because that then chokes off opportunity, right? Because that then limits when we decide on the how, because like we think we know everything.
Right.
Then it just
That's
limits
just
all
what
these,
I wrote down.
Yeah,
the how. Yeah.
Limits all the opportunities that it could come to you. So instead of doing that, I was just like, how much do I want? How much money do I want to experience right now? And I landed on 75,000. And then I was like, okay, it's done.
It's done.
I'm getting 75,000 unexpected dollars. It's coming to me. It's already mine. I'm so thankful for all of the things I'm going to do with this 75 grand. And then I thought about all of the things that I was going to do in my head, and I set the intention for it. And then a week later, Jay told me how it was happening.
That's awesome.
And I also attract a lot less situations that require it to go out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So a lot of the chaos.
Yeah, the unexpected things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. I loved that shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I did, but I loved that shit. I loved it because it allowed me to stay in victimhood. Because look at all these crazy things happening in my life, and I get to be a victim to it. I loved it. Oh God, I loved not getting what I wanted, but I didn't realize it at the time. So
it's wild. I've caught myself in that as well too, because that just kind of bathing in the self-pity and having people kind of woo over you and oh poor Michael, it feels good. It
really
feels
good.
great, because you just that little you inside you, that's been craving some love or some attention in whatever facet that it's missing. It's filled in that mindset there. But two big takeaways from what you just said or that you were grateful that you had it, which is probably the most powerful emotion that you can have, is gratitude. And then acting like it was now in the present moment. And then also, do you listen to Abraham Hicks? She's and that's another big thing that I kind of get caught up on as well too, is focusing on the what it is instead of focusing on how it would make me feel. So having $75,000, you can start to think and feel freedom, relax a little bit, joy. You instead of just specifically focusing on the $75,000, you set that number and then you regulate your body to feel those feelings of just ultimately freedom for the most part, of flexibility, and then just start to vibrate in that emotion, and then here it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. And then, you're ready for it when it actually gets there. And that way you can be a responsible steward of the thing that you want. But I think even starting at the very beginning of that process, identifying what you want to feel is so important. And it's because so many times human beings get fixated on creating this thing. I'm going to do this thing. This thing is the way. I'm going to do this. And so they do it. Like, we'll use building a business as an example. I really want time and financial freedom. I'm going to build a business. I'm going to work for myself, and I'm going to create that. Well, then they build the business and it feels really differently from how they thought that it would feel. They actually have less time because they're working on their business and parenting and doing all the things, right? I'm not drawing from personal examples at all.
Sure.
So they've got this business that they're responsible for now, and it's like, well, this isn't what I wanted. This doesn't feel the way that I thought it would feel. And it's like, well, because you got really, really, really hung up on the how, but instead of just deciding this is what I want to feel. So we'll force thousands of things into creation that aren't actually the things that we want. We just we did it in pursuit of a feeling.
Yeah.
So instead of getting really attached to how that's going to come up or how you're going to get to, point Z from A, just letting the feelings guide you, because we will create whole ass realities,
right,
to get something that we thought we wanted that we don't in fact want.
For a feeling that's that's fleeting, you've got to, 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 it's not necessarily that seeing is believing. It's believing is seeing kind of thing. You know, you have to believe that it is possible prior to it actually happening, or else it's...
Yes, and having as evidence of wanting.
Yeah.
So when you take a look at your situation, every single thing that you have is something that you subconsciously want. So why do you want it?
Yeah. But
even if it's like not one of those positive things, like maybe it's like money coming and going and it's, you know, feeling uncertain in that. There's something about that you are getting off on. That's why the situation continues to be recreated. So what is it that you're getting from that? What's the secondary gain?
So true. And just repeating those cycles too. You know, and sometimes it does take that, you know, you don't know how high it can get until you know how low it can get, kind of thing. You don't know what you want till you know what you don't want.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Abraham says that all the time. Is that you know, failure and quote unquote mistakes and things like that. Again, it's happening to you or happening for you, not to you, kind of thing, because, you know, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So once you figure out what you don't want, you know, just into that scale, exactly what you do want. So kind of going through those mistakes and not judging yourself through that whole system of societal programming of, oh, I fucked up, now I'm screwed and everybody hates me, kind of thing.
Up.
Yeah,
oh God.
Right.
Well, you've created that. So what are you getting out of that? You're getting shame, you're getting guilt, you're getting rejection, abandonment, humiliation, all of these things. So then it's sitting down with yourself every single day. I do this every day. I give myself like 5 or 10 minutes every day to feel like shit, to feel shame, to feel guilt, to feel any of whatever it is that's coming up for me. I don't go out and like create it if it's not there. But like if I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling low, then I'll sit with it and I'll say, okay, where is this coming from? This is shame.
Yeah.
Okay, let's feel shame for a minute. Let's enjoy it. Let's give ourselves 5 or 10 minutes to intentionally enjoy feeling this shame right now, because I keep creating it. I must want this. Having as evidence of wanting, I must want this on some level. So I'll give it to myself in a very measured and you know, structured container. And then when I started doing that, I will say that so many of my patterns that I was replaying over and over stopped. I didn't have to subconsciously create these patterns to live out over and over and over again, because the need for the shame and the guilt or whatever it was getting satisfied in that intentional container. And so I could collapse those patterns and start to create consciously the things that I did want and feel the way that I did consciously want to feel. You
were just giving your ego what it wanted at the moment, kind of thing, and
there's a part
letting
of you,
it be satisfied instead of repressing it and letting it fester. You know, a lot of people do that as well too. They just ignore their emotions. Yeah. Or they repress them, and things just get so much worse at that point.
It gets ugly, and that's where you start to see the manifestation of disease in the body. But it's like our emotions teach us so much. They're not good, bad, right, or wrong. But it's asking myself, okay, when I want the thing, what is it that I actually want? What am I experiencing right now? Am I experiencing a reality that I consciously want? If no, then okay, well, what's the secondary gain from what I am experiencing? Because on some level, I do want it. And then meeting that need for yourself. So it's the integration of the ego. It's the looking at each and every part of yourself and sitting down and having tea with it and saying, what do you need me to hear right now? What are you here to teach me? Shame? What are you here to teach me? Why do you want to stick around? And then loving it and accepting it and giving yourself that in that small container, and then saying, okay, now I'm going to move forward. That part of myself has been noticed, acknowledged, accepted, satisfied. And that frees up so much creationary energy for you to go out and create the things that you consciously do want and feel the things that you consciously want to feel. If you know that you're going to feel shame every single day, then you don't have to keep subconsciously creating scenarios for you to get that feeling.
Just dragging it behind you like dead weight, you know, you haven't dealt with it. Right. You know, you haven't, you just, you know, it's there. It's just lurking in the shadows constantly, but sitting down and just actually dealing with it.
Yeah. Identify where it is in your body.
Yeah.
What does it look like? What does it feel like? This is an exercise that I like to do, just like closing your eyes and taking some deep breaths and sending the breath to that. Because anytime we're feeling an emotion, it's going to have a physiological like a response, right? We're going to feel something in our body. So, okay, where am I feeling this? I'm feeling it in my gut. Okay, what does it look like? What color is it? Say it just like showed up and knocked on my door. What's its name? What do you have to teach me? You know, maybe it's green and it's really tight. Can I change its color? Can I change what it feels like? Can I make it turn into a cloud? And then I'll, sit with it, be present with it, ask it what it has to teach me, accept it, say thank you for being here. Thank you for teaching me something. And then I'll release it either through breath or through primal scream or movement. Wow. And then it allows you to shift the state. And then I'll spend a few minutes breathing into my heart space and thinking of something that I love, someone that I love. And then I usually can't access that stress and that tension in my body anymore, even when I think about the thing that was triggering me to feel it.
It was just occupying a space within your body, and you kind of coerced it out a little bit.
I worked with it.
And then let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Transmuted.
Yeah, transmuted. And then you refilled it with love. Mm-hmm. And joy and happiness and everything else that goes with it. Mm-hmm. So is this kind of where the Reiki comes into play as well too?
Yeah. So energy work I discovered it in Cambodia. Actually, I didn't discover it. I'm not the first person that found out what it was, but it was introduced to me. This is a monumental
podcast here. The founder of Reiki.
Oh, absolutely not. The 7-foot tall Kiwi stoner that I worked for at the hostel. He'd wrapped
7 feet.
He was enormous. He'd wrapped his motorbike around a tree and broken 6 vertebrae. And from all of my back injury stuff, I knew how to work with muscles and do myofascial release. And so I would massage his shoulders at the check-in every day. And after several times of me like working on his shoulders and neck and upper back, he was like, you know what? You've done that so much for me. Let me just give you something. Turn around, close your eyes, try not to think about anything. And I was sitting at a reception desk with a bunch of people around me. So I was like, all right, no harm. So I turned around and like closed my eyes and I tried not to think about anything. And of course, immediately start thinking about things like, what is he doing? What the fuck are you doing to me right now, dude? Is this even going to work? Nope, it's definitely not. Whatever it is, it's not going to work. And if it was working, it would just be placebo effect. And as soon as I thought that, my body felt like it had been plugged into an electrical socket. Oh, wow. And I felt like the Beauty and the Beast, the like original one from when we were kids, where the beast is like rising up off the floor and there's like light shooting out of his fingers and toes. Yeah. I felt like that.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, when he finished, I was like, what did you do to me? And he was like, that's Reiki. And I was like, okay, well, I have to learn everything about this. So he just taught me about energy and about how to be aware of it and how to play with it and how to manipulate it. And so I was just kind of obsessed with it for years, and then finally got certified 4 years ago. And it's just, human beings, we are a whole ass organism. There's so much more to us than just our minds, than just our bodies, than just our nervous systems. There's our energy field, our emotional field. There are so many aspects to who we are as human beings. So whenever you want to heal something or clear blockages from the things that you want, you wouldn't just, if there was something wrong with your car, it wasn't working, you wouldn't just look at the steering wheel. You wouldn't just look at you would look at the entire thing and the entire process. And for human beings, we have to address the entire organism. So I do think that the nervous system and the mindset are like the most important places to start. But when you keep going, there are energetic blockages to things, especially because, when we suppress our emotions, when we experience trauma, when anything happens to us in the moment, 99.9% of us do not process the trauma or the scary things or the really emotionally charged things healthily and right in that moment. And there are so many versions of trauma. There are so many types of trauma. Trauma can be innocent trauma, stubbing your toe or tripping and falling down the stairs. That is trauma. Just like a car wreck or witnessing a crime or having something really awful happen to you. There's different types of trauma, and we do not process that in the moment and in a healthy way. We usually suppress it, or we drink about it, or we, employ a myriad of unhealthy coping mechanisms to ignore the fact, or make it easier for us to ignore the fact that we are not feeling safe, that we are feeling discomfort, that we're unhappy or hurting. and we'll just bury that and try to move forward as if nothing happened. We try to mind over matter when it doesn't work that way. So when
it never goes away.
Exactly. It doesn't go away. It just finds another way to pop out. And so it will manifest in other ways, in your body. I work with people all the time when I do Reiki sessions and I'm working on people's body parts. I can tell, like, after the session, I'm like, so what are you avoiding stepping into? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I felt a lot in your knee. Like, your right knee was really, there was just a lot going on in that right knee. And they're like, oh, I have a lot of pain there. I'm like, yeah, what are you avoiding stepping into? You're not stepping into something that you're supposed to. What is it? And they instantly know and start crying. And they're like, oh my God. Or, oh my God, I had a client who was in a relationship and his partner was cheating on him. And he didn't want to see it. There were so many signs and so many things that he was choosing to not see that he literally started to lose his vision.
Whoa. Whoa.
And after we figured it out and he was able to admit, oh, my partner's cheating on me, his eyesight returned.
That's so
fine.
Crazy.
But I was like, you were choosing not to see something so much that your eyes were literally like, okay, we understand the assignment. You don't want us to see? Done. You're not going to see.
Wow.
Yep. I have people that do. I have someone with their ears right now. It was a couple weeks ago. He was like, man, I keep having ringing in my ears. And I'm like, what are you avoiding hearing from yourself? What are you avoiding listening to? And he instantly knew two things. One thing that he was avoiding hearing from himself and one thing from his partner.
Wow. So are you, is it a muscle tension, or is it, can you feel the energy just kind of in the areas of their body tense up, or at a low vibration or something?
It's really hard to explain, and I'm not even sure that I have the words to explain it. But when I'm in a Reiki session and I'm working on someone, it's kind of different for everybody. With some people, I'll see it. I see, like, my eyes are closed, but I see when chakras are not aligned, and I can see which direction, like if they're blocked or if they're overstimulated and overworking, and then I'll see when they're balanced and flowing properly. So sometimes I'll see things, sometimes I'll just feel it, sometimes my hand will feel like it's being pulled, and that's how I know that I have to stay and continue to work on an area. Sometimes I'll hear things. At first, I just thought I had a really active imagination, but when I finally started to trust myself and open up to all of my clients, every single time I was right. I was able to tell, oh my God, I saw someone was pregnant. I just had my hands over her womb space and I was working on her root chakra, and I just kept seeing cells dividing. And I was like, why am I seeing this over and over and again? And she was like, what is it? And I was like, cells dividing. And she was like, I found out yesterday I'm pregnant.
Oh shit.
So it's just kind of different with everyone. With certain people, I'll just feel it. Some I just know it. Some I'll see it. It just depends. Yeah. This is like one of the first times that I've really openly, publicly talked about this. Cool. Kind of feels like I'm coming out of the closet a little bit, because I talk about it with my clients.
No,
like, my clients know that that I have these spiritual gifts, but I certainly don't talk about them on a regular basis. So I'm kind of like an in the closet healer, I guess. Yeah. Even saying the term, like calling myself a healer, there's still a little bit of like
imposter syndrome
around that. And like, oh, you're not the healer, you're the facilitation, and the person themselves, they heal themselves. But that's just some witch wound that I have that I work through. But
witch wound.
Yeah.
That's so silly.
Oh, it's so real. Are you kidding me? Like, so you know how trauma can be passed down. Mm-hmm. And
cell memory, right?
So yeah. And so there's tons of trauma that was experienced around when women were killed, where Salem. I mean, the witch hunts across Europe. Anytime that happened to you, or that, your ancestor was the person doing the execution, or your ancestor was just in the crowd watching that happen, that impacted them, and that impact is passed down. So that witch wound is still something that's very alive and well. And a lot of the like wounded healers that you see, they don't want to step into their power because they've been persecuted for it before in the past, or from their ancestors. I was reading a book. I'm still kind of reading it. It's taking me a while. It's a short book, but it's taking me a while to take in. It's called Beyond Cell Memory, and it talks just about that as far as how your soul, your seed, it carries kind of that karmatic thing with it, and then it's transferred from a past life into your biological system, which then
enters into your DNA, which can then be passed down through generations and generations of family. And you got to go back and find all that stuff out, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I love to ask myself, is this my voice? Like if my inner critic is piping up, I'm like, is this mine? Is this my voice? Nope. Yeah. It's not even mine. Or I'll ask, like, is this belief even from my life? Is this from a past life? A lot of my stuff around healing came from a past life. I was a witch in 3 different lives that I know of. And I know that I was burnt.
What do you mean by like a witch?
Just a healer. So witch, we say witch. And
it's not like a long point. It's not like the Hocus Pocus.
No, it's not like a woman riding around on a broom with a pointy hat. Right. No, witches before the church and before men decided that they were going to create our modern concept of like what a witch is. A witch was just a wise woman, and she knew how to work with the seasons, with the cycles of the earth, with natural energy cycles, and with earth itself, with Mother Nature, and make medicine to heal people. And it just basically, they were the people that lived in sync with the seasons and with the lunar cycles, and knew which plant to go get and use if you got bit by a bug, or if you needed to purge your system. They were the ones that tended to births and to deaths. They were the midwives and the doulas. They weren't like the evil people casting spells and like eating children.
Right. Eating children. That's so. To that point, I think so. Kind of around the. You correct me if I'm wrong, if you know. Kind of around the witch trial area, I think, is when modern medicine, big pharma, started to come about. So John D. Rockefeller figured out that you could make pharmaceuticals with petroleum, and he owned the petroleum market. He also owned the media as well too, and figured out that this was an extremely profitable business for him and his cohorts. So he started, maybe not him personally, manufacturing all the pharmaceuticals, and then persecuting, maybe not him personally, but he was definitely behind the curtain as Mr. Oz, persecuting the witches of sorts.
Because they were the ones that had the answers. They had been doing it that way. It was ancient wisdom that they were using, so we had to make it. We have to make that wrong for us to be profitable. So, and it also happened in Europe. The women, the rise of the patriarchal church, it was a threat. It was around the time of, medicine, modern medicine as we know it, kind of being developed, and the church being very, very patriarchal, and wise women threatened medicine and the church, and they threatened prophets. Because if you didn't need anything outside of yourself, well, then the church and medicine is obsolete.
100%.
If all you need is nature and the know-how to do it, and then this woman to help you, then all of these systems that we can profit on won't work.
Collapse completely.
So we have to vilify women. We have to vilify smart women. We have to vilify natural remedies to things. We have to make them wrong and bad so that we can be good and profitable.
And they flipped the script on it too, because now the natural healings are so-called, alternative methods when they should be the primary methods.
They are the primary methods.
Just in general.
The alternative methods, modern medicine as we know it, I think, people are waking up and they're starting to see that, oh, you mean there are natural remedies to this that won't give me the side effect, the 20 side effects that this one pill gives me? Oh, you mean that there's actually a root cause, and I could go to an energy worker and I could actually maybe like get to the bottom of this root cause
instead of just masking it and
instead of masking the symptoms. Oh, you mean I can actually go in, clear this wound out, clean it, close it, and move on? What? Yeah.
It's so true, though.
I know.
It's so true. I mean, there's stories of, I've watched so many cancer documentaries of like Beyond Cancer and the truth about cancer and things like that. And, back to Tesla's energy frequency vibration, that's what everything is. And so like, if you can find that frequency within your body that's off, that's causing the dis-ease in your body, and go down, and either through a past life regression or through, some sort of resonance type work, and find that, then you can begin to dissolve it, because that's all it is. It's just a bundle of undealt with energy. I mean, I think, I read somewhere that obviously stress is probably one of the number one causes of cancer just in general. And people don't realize that.
Yeah, it's a huge one. Cortisol really can negatively affect the body and throw it off. Another reason nervous system regulation is so important.
Cool.
Yeah.
This has been an awesome conversation.
It has.
Yeah, I'm so glad to meet you.
You too, finally.
Cool. You're part of the crew now.
I'm in.
You're in. Yeah.
Cool.
Your Vibes podcast crew. All right, we're at an hour and 36 minutes. I think we've pretty much, we could go down a couple more rabbit holes, but I think we're pretty solid right now.
Okay.
Are you good?
I'm good. I'm always good.
Did you let it all out of your heart?
Oh, there's always more, but...
Could be a part 2 to this.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm coming up on the 50th episode, and this is another first timer. I have hired someone part-time. So I started cutting podcast episodes, I think at about like the 15th or 16th episode, to where it was go from long form, and then I'd do like 5, 10, 15-minute clips and put those out for people to just get a little taste. But the first 1 through 15 or 16 haven't been. So I've hired someone, I'm meeting with them Friday to teach them how to edit it, and I'm going to give them all the files for the original 1 through 15 episodes. So I'm going to data dump, I'm going to short clip dump those. I think I'm going to take a break. So this third week of January is going to be my 50th episode. I'm having a party. You're invited. I think you should have gotten the Facebook invite.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'll check.
If you haven't, I'll resend it. It's all 50 guests, and it's going to be at the chamber office. I'm having it catered. I'm going to bring we're going to have music and just a networking thing. And then I think I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to do some follow-up episodes with some people. Cool. So you're definitely going to be on that list. We'll do some check-ins and continue our conversation.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Ooh, fun. Ooh, well, since we're going to do a follow-up episode really quickly, do you want to set your intentions between now and then we can check them on that episode and see if we've accomplished those things?
Yeah. Okay. How many intentions should I set?
3 to 5.
Specifically for myself or for the podcast or just life in general?
Follow your heart.
Follow my heart. Okay. First off, I would like to generate more income off this podcast sponsorship. So right now it's at $300 a month. I would like to regularly bring in $2,000 a month is kind of where my next step on this. I would like to grow the entertainment business and by entertainment business, I'm talking karaoke, bingo, and trivia to 50 total clients within the next 6 months. Okay. And then I would also like to, on a personal note, would like to better my relationship with my family, my wife specifically. I think we've both kind of taken on a lot of work, and we need to kind of come back together on that one. I would also like to be able to manifest quicker than I have. Okay. I think that's kind of what is just poured out of my heart at the moment. So yeah, faster manifestations. I think my mind is working a lot faster than my manifestations, and I would kind of just like to maybe bring those back into the same resonance of sorts. Okay.
So how would you feel once you hit all of those goals? What are the things that you want to feel around those goals?
Freedom. Yeah. A little more, and I guess to kind of add and to kind of encompass those is to add a little bit more of a system to the process. Because right now it's a little chaotic. And I think that would allow me some more freedom to be creative instead of worrying so much about I've got to have this come in order to grow. If I'm going to grow this entertainment business, I've obviously got to acquire more assets for speakers and lights and stuff like that in order to kind of be able to have multiple operations going. So should I have that whole thing come in, it would provide the system for it, and I'd be a little bit more free to step out and let people be boots on the ground, and then I could just work on it, not in it.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you want to feel more supported. You want to feel like you've got structure in place and people to support you.
Absolutely.
On your vision.
Yes.
Yes.
More of a team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Keep asking me questions.
I mean, there were a few things I was going to be like, oh yeah, why? Says who?
Do it.
Says who? So you were saying that you had to create more assets. You had to bring more money in so that you could develop more. Why? Can you not? Are there not things that you can trade? Are there not other ways that you can
barter system? Absolutely.
Skin that cat.
That's how I got these microphones. Barter system on these. Yes, there are. And that's kind of coming because I may be overthinking as far as the assets I've got to require, because a lot of my potential clients already have their own system I can just plug up to. So I think I'm overthinking that a bit. Quite a bit, actually.
I would say just detach from, because the things that you're wanting to have more clients, that takes more time.
Sure.
So I would just zoom out a little bit further and say, like, okay, what are the things that you are wanting to experience? You're wanting to experience freedom. And getting more clients is absolutely will bring you more money, right? Or you can just say, I want more money. I want more time with my family. So the intention shifts to, I want more support in my vision. I want more connection with my family. I want to feel like it's safe and acceptable for me to do those things.
Without everything just completely falling apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm safe and supported. I get to experience fun and joy and time with my family without having to worry about whether or not something's going to spin off of its track.
Yeah. Okay.
And start focusing on those feelings.
How
would it feel to wake up in the morning and know that you just get to press play and your shit, all of your businesses are running on autopilot. They are making you money while you sleep. And all you have to do is answer a few emails. And cash checks. Yeah. What does that feel like?
I would be so more creative, you know? I would definitely be a lot more creative, for sure. The freedom of that. So set the intention to call in the support that you're looking for, because what you need are people to fill roles to be supportive, right? To the vision. Yeah. Set the intention that the perfect people are coming to you. The perfect solutions are coming to you. The perfect clients are coming to you. And the money is coming too. Yeah, with ease. Yes, with ease and with flow and with grace. The number one thing that all this shit's for is because I eventually would like to, such as you've started to do and have been doing, is to teach people that it's possible. That is my number one goal in all of this, is to do it and then teach other people who may or may not believe they can do it or do it fully that they absolutely fucking can. Everything else is what the fuck ever, the money, everything else. But to be able to, like you said, just wake up in the morning, know that everything's running as well as it can be, and have those people that I can connect with that day to make their day just a little bit better on whatever journey or path that they're going down. That means getting your house there first. Yeah, I know. I gotta clean my bedroom first, right? But there can be joy in every part of the process. Sure. And at the end of the day, I think that's why most of us, like, as far as like what we want to feel, we want joy. Yeah. And we want to enjoy our experience, right? We don't want to just trudge through it and not be able to wait to get the kids in bed so that we can pass out ourselves just, that's not the point of this. The point is to enjoy it. We have ears so that we can hear beautiful music, and eyes so that we can view beautiful art, and words are, we can speak so that we can share beautiful thoughts and sing beautiful songs. So I think that like our abilities to even just like perceive the outside world are just there so that we can have a joyful and beautiful experience. And so creating more of that, you can take a lot of steps out of the journey that might not have been necessary, because I can tell you from someone who definitely had that same thought process of like, okay, I want to make the world a better place. I want to remind people of their potential. I ran off with my ass on fire to do that through serial entrepreneuring, and then built the successful business and was like, well, I feel like shit. Sure. I hate this. My business is so busy and I'm fucking miserable. This is not what I wanted. Yeah. And then you shift. So I just would set the intention for exactly how you want to feel. Joy, support, fun with family,
and then let the hows work themselves out, because there's an intelligence higher than us that can see a bigger picture that we can't even fathom yet.
Cosmic timing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I feel much better.
You almost look frightened. Did I scare you?
No, nothing can scare me. I'm just very thoughtful on some things too. Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And we're going to do this chart real quick too before you go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do you have time?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Do you want to drop your socials?
Sure. I am on Instagram at Easy Wonderful Life. You can find me on Facebook there too. Let's see, TikTok. I think I'm just Meridyth Driskill on TikTok. It's a lot of mostly my kid stealing my phone and posting TikToks that I don't know about until later. But yeah, my website, easywonderfullife.com. I have a women's retreat, a healing and transformational women's retreat coming up in January for New Year's. It's
cool.
The 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's going to be insane,
Cool.
And amazing and luxurious. So you'll see a lot of that all over my socials right now. That and
Where's
full
that going to
moon
be?
Circles. That is actually going to be in Springfield in a treehouse mansion.
No shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Super stoked about it.
That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Feels like a getaway, but it's still nice and close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not like too terribly rustic.
No, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Like hot tubs, decks overlooking a
town.
creek. It feels great. Yeah.
Can I identify as a woman for that weekend?
No. But I highly recommend you checking it out and maybe like taking your wife there for a weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Truly appreciate it. Like, share, comment, spread it out, spread the news. This is a fantastic episode. This is why I got into the podcast, because I felt like I was the only one that was thinking like this. And
You're not alone.
I'm not alone. Cool. Really appreciate you guys listening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your life. And until next time, peace. Thanks again to Your Vibes Entertainment for sponsoring this episode. If you're looking to boost your revenue, showcase your company, or just want to provide high vibe entertainment for your family, friends, employees, or clients, please reach out to them directly on Facebook or Instagram at Your Vibes Entertainment. Shoot them an email at yventertainmentservicesllc@gmail.com, or give the owner Michael a call directly at 615-330-3236. If you're interested in sponsoring an episode, please reach out to me directly via email at yourvibespodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, and always remember, stay vibey, my friends.